it sounds weird to say like I'm confident in the Browns, but I am confident in the Browns right now. Joe Flacco has looked like a fucking boss out there, dude. He does not look like he came out of retirement. He isn't skipping a beat. Hey, you're tuned in to another episode of the Flea Flicker Show. We are your hosts, Fred and Dre. We drop new episodes every Wednesday and Friday in the NFL season. Subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us on social media at Flea Flicker Show. Dre, tell them what we got coming up.
We got a Week 17 prediction pod. That's what we got. We got a show for you today because we're going to have some teams making it and breaking it this week. So this is going to be a big one. And there were quite a few games that I came across that I was like, I don't even know who to pick here. This is a good week, man, and I'm ready for it.
Yeah, and I'm going completely blind here. I haven't even looked at the games yet, so my predictions are going to be right off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
This is two holidays in a row for football for us. We had Christmas last week. Now we're going to the New Year's games. So it should be fun, should be entertaining. And there aren't any on New Year's Day. There's a lot of New Year's Eve, though. So
they're all 2023 games, baby.
Should be good. And it is championship week for most fantasy teams. So these games will matter. It is for me, baby.
Yeah. After last week, our total score, I am at 141 and 99. You are 3 games back at 138 and 102. So let's see if you can catch me this week when we go through the games. Before that, though, let's give you some playoff clinching scenarios because we do have a couple. The Chiefs, we told you about them last week. They are trying to limp their way into the playoffs, and if they get a win this week, they will have it. They will clinch. The Dolphins can clinch their division this week with a win. The Bills fans do not want that to happen. The Ravens, who the Dolphins are playing, might I add, can also clinch their division with a win. And the number 1 seed, the Ravens can take it this week if they beat the Dolphins in this game, which will be interesting because I think they could definitely do it. And we'll get to it when we do. Should I talk about the playoffs and how they're shaping up?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
We got 2 weeks left. Just go through it quickly. Go through the in the hunt. Go through the NFL playoff picture and how it's going to look. Give me what you think is going to happen too. I want to hear that.
So I'm going to start with the NFC right now. We got. I think the NFC is pretty much. I'm pretty confident in what's going on in the NFC. We got the 49ers, the Eagles, the Lions, and the Buccaneers leading their divisions. The Lions have already clinched theirs. The Niners have clinched theirs. And I think at this point, the Eagles most likely will. And the Buccaneers have looked so good. I think they're going to clinch theirs. So I think that's wrapped up with those ones. The number 1 seed is not wrapped up at this point. As you mentioned in the last video, the Niners, the Eagles, and the Lions are all tied at 11-4. The 49ers hold a tiebreaker over the Eagles, but they do have a game against the Rams left, whereas the Eagles have a couple of kind of gimme games left. So anything could happen for the number 1 seed. And for the wild card spots, we got the Cowboys have the 5th spot locked up if they don't win the division, which we don't expect to happen. And then the Rams and the Seahawks are holding strong with the 6th and 7th seed at 8-7 each. And I assume that's how it's gonna end up with those teams in those spots. Maybe the Seahawks can take the 6th seed from the Rams. Who knows? But I mean, the only other team that's really even there, if you look at it, I mean, the Vikings and the Packers. But I mean, they got to play each other. So one of them's gonna knock the other out. And then if you want to say the Falcons and Saints are kind of fighting for the wild card, I highly doubt we see either of them take it, though. So I think the Seahawks and Rams got those 2 spots locked up. I'm pretty confident in saying it.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in that as well. I think Seahawks, Rams got that locked up, especially just the way that they're both playing. They both are giving you a lot more confidence than I think those other teams going into the end of the season here. And the Buccaneers, I agree. I think that they're going to win that division pretty easily at this point. They're the only team that looks good on a consistent basis, or at least semi-consistent. And they have the best quarterback in the division right now. So it all comes down to the QB, and Baker's playing the best football he maybe in his career.
Yeah, Baker outplaying Derek Carr is kind of funny in my opinion. Same Saints fans probably don't think so,
Yeah.
the same, but
The most exciting thing in the NFC is going to be that top seed battle, as well as the Cowboys versus Eagles for the division. Although with the division, it should be the Eagles. The Eagles have to lose 2 games over the next 2 weeks to lose that division, and the Cowboys wouldn't have to lose none. So being a game behind already, the Eagles holding the tiebreaker, they would have to lose 2 games and have an absolute collapse.
Yeah, and we don't expect that to happen. So, yeah, and if you go over to the AFC, it's a little more open than the NFC. There's some things that I'm still not sure are going to happen or not happen. So it'll be interesting. Like the Ravens have the number 1 seed right now. Like I said earlier, they can take the number 1 seed this week. I do expect them to have the number 1 seed, but it all depends on this week for them. The Dolphins are at number 2. They are in that predicament with the Ravens. I believe they also have a divisional fight. I didn't even mention the Ravens. They technically have a divisional fight as well with the Browns a couple games behind them, but the Ravens kind of have to have a collapse for the Browns to be able to take that. And the Dolphins, they're 2 games up on the Bills, so they also would have to somewhat collapse, but they do have a tougher schedule, so don't put it past the Bills to end up taking
one of those games that they would have to lose is to the Bills.
Yeah, they would have to lose to the Ravens, and then the Bills and Dolphins will probably have the division on the line in week 18, which would be a very exciting game. Honestly, that might even be the likely scenario.
That's probably going to be the likely scenario because you got to think that the Ravens are going to beat the Dolphins. They just look like a better team. And then there'll only be a game up on the Bills going to the final game of the season. If the Bills win that game, they hold the tiebreaker by beating them twice. So they would win the division, which is crazy because 6 weeks ago, the Bills looked like they were never going to make the playoffs.
Yeah. They were very far behind a lot. They were at what, ninth seed, I think.
Yeah.
A couple games away, a couple teams ahead of them. Before even,
and now they're looking like a sure thing the way they've been playing. I mean, they squeaked out the win last week. It was an ugly win, but they seem to be doing all right.
Yeah, and for the Dolphins, it's pretty wild what could happen with them because they could go all the way they could be the 1 seed or they could drop all the way down to the 5th seed, maybe even the 6th seed if the Browns can have a better record than them. So that's pretty
because if they lose 2 games, the Browns went out. They have a better record. So
moving from them, we got the Chiefs in with the 3rd spot, the 3rd seed right now. I imagine they'll stay at the 3rd seed. They could drop to the 4th, depending on what happens with the other guys. Because we got the Jags, the Colts, and the Texans all tied at 8 and 7, trying to win that division, with the Jags technically on top right now. It'll be really interesting to see what happens with those teams in that race.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. And the Chiefs are really just playing for seeding, whether it's 4 or 3. But those, like you said, all the teams that are in the hunt there being at 8 and 7, Jags, Colts, Texans, Steelers, Bengals, they're all right there creeping up on their tail in terms of positioning.
Yeah, the Bengals are literally the 10th seed right now, and they're 8 and 7, tied with the 7th seed Colts. So there's so many things
also
that can happen.
Tied with the 4th seed Jaguars.
Yeah,
I mean, they're not in the same division, but
yeah. And then you can't fully count out the Raiders or the Broncos at 7 and 8, even in the division with the Chiefs. But a lot would have to go wrong for the teams ahead of them, for the Raiders or Broncos to sneak in at this point. So they could get eliminated this week.
They could. But a lot has gone wrong in the NFL this season, 4 teams, so a lot could go wrong.
That is a fair point. That's all I got for the playoffs talk. Well, technically, if we want to talk playoffs, the bowl games in college are playoffs. 4 teams that didn't make the playoffs. Stupid Alabama. So much. But West Virginia.
Broken horns, baby.
West Virginia, baby. We're recording on a Tuesday. So tomorrow, Wednesday, December 27th, West Virginia is playing North Carolina in the bowl game. And I'm pretty pumped for it. North Carolina, I believe Drake May is not playing. So West Virginia could definitely take this game.
Definitely could.
They might be able to take it if he did play. Because, I mean, they're not that impressive with him.
Right. Their coach is the old Texas coach, right?
Texas Tech. No, Houston. Right? Are you talking about West Virginia?
North Carolina.
Oh, North Carolina. I'm not sure who their coach is.
Yeah, Mac Brown. Yeah, Mac Brown's the coach.
West
coached
Virginia's
Texas for a long time, but he's a good coach. But I don't think without Drake May, I don't think they can pull away with the W.
Yeah, baby. West Virginia's going to be pulling away with the W. I'm going to be watching that at work tomorrow. So, hey, let's get a dub, West Virginia. We'll know by the time anyone's watching this if I'll be upset or not. So, with the
You
way
won't
things have
visibly
been
see
going,
it.
I'll probably be upset. Who knows? Let's get into the games, though. Thursday night football, first game of week 17 in Cleveland. We got the Jets and the Browns. Both teams have injured kickers, which is interesting because they both got hurt last week. So we'll see what their plans are at kicker. And the Jets, Zach Wilson, still in concussion protocol at the time of recording. Will he play? Will it matter? I don't think
He
so. What do you
shouldn't play. He shouldn't play. Trevor Siemian didn't look great last week, but he looked better than Zach Wilson has for most of the year, except for his one-off 300-yard games that he does for no reason. Joe Flacco has looked like a fucking boss out there, dude. He does not look like he came out of retirement. He isn't skipping a beat out there. I'm taking the Browns. Like, it sounds weird to say, like, I'm confident in the Browns, but I am confident in the Browns right now. So their offense is playing well.
with
Their
Joe
defense
Flacco?
has been good all season. They have a running game, which the Jets aren't great against. So I'm going with the Browns.
Yeah, no Nick Chubb. The running game is still good. So
Still
weird.
good.
Joe Flacco at
Kareem
that.
Hunt and Jerome Ford.
Yeah, I think the Jets D could force Joe Flacco into throwing quite a few bad balls, but the Browns defense is going to do the same thing to the Jets quarterback. So whoever it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm taking the Browns too. They should come out on top for sure. Maybe Breece Hall can do something, but I imagine the Browns will. So
We're on
let's
the same
move.
page there.
What's that?
Same page there.
Same page. Yeah. Let's move to a much more interesting and meaningful game on Saturday. One Saturday game. So this is going to be a big
Yeah.
Saturday
And
football
if you've
game.
noticed, the Saturday games kind of trickled down. So it's gone from 3-2-1. But
Mhm.
this will be a big Saturday game. I'll let you intro it.
Yeah, in Dallas, the Lions and the Cowboys have been unstoppable at their home turf. So this is going to be a battle. The Lions are trying to get that one seed, so they're definitely going to be going for it. The Cowboys trying to maybe take the division. It's going to be a all-out war. I think it might be a bit of a shootout, although the defenses are definitely going to come to play. I feel like the Cowboys should win this game because their defense is going to be lights out and CeeDee Lamb is going to get going. They're undefeated at home. I feel like they should win this game, but I'm going to take the Lions. I'm going to do it. I got to take the line. It could
Yeah,
go.
I'm in the same boat as you. I feel like just how the Cowboys are at home. Like, you got to believe that they're going to show up and they're going to perform offensively and defensively. I mean, the Lions did give up what 28 points to the Vikings last week. 411 passing yards. So it could be an absolute. It should be a shootout. I don't think the Lions. I mean, this is the best offense that the Cowboys have faced this year. Probably, and I think they're a better offense than the Niners and the Eagles. To be
Debatable
honest,
for sure.
I mean, they're going to have four. They could potentially have four 1,000-yard performers on their team. So,
Will
if
Laporta get going in this one?
if that happens, they are for sure the best offense in the league. It's tough though. And you know what? I want this to be game of the week, so I'm taking the Cowboys
Oh, you're
in the split.
gross.
And
Oh, go clean your mouth
yeah,
out.
this is me one. I want the Lions to win, but I want it to be game of the week. So I'm picking the
I'm
Cowboys.
I'm shocked.
I know you are. I hate the Cowboys with a passion, but I can definitely see Micah Parsons in that pass rush getting to Jared Goff and causing havoc. So I'm gonna take the Cowboys at
Yeah,
home.
I could see it. I could see it for sure. As long as the Lions don't somehow get like manhandled, I feel like I'd be very upset if that happened, to be honest. But
This is one I'm so split on. Like, I'm so torn on it because I don't believe the Cowboys are a Super Bowl contender. I think the Lions. But for whatever reason, at home, the Cowboys play phenomenally well. But they haven't played any very good teams at home outside of a dogged Eagles team,
yeah.
who does struggle in Dallas. So I'm going Cowboys just because I want to see
Oh, you said it
the
again.
game of the week. But in my heart of hearts, I'm going Lions.
Let's go
But
Lions,
for the
baby.
yeah,
Shut the
yeah,
Cowboys fans up.
yeah,
All right. We've talked enough about it. Let's move to Sunday football in Baltimore. This might be the game of the week I mean, There's a couple games of the week in this week. There's some
This is
good
a
ones.
phenomenal week.
The
This could be the game
Dolphins
of the week.
and the Ravens are fighting for the number one seed and this should be a good game. The Dolphins, Jalen Waddle is questionable at the moment. Hopefully he can get in there because they're gonna need him. For sure, they're gonna need him in this game. The Ravens defense is phenomenal, and they're gonna be doing everything they can to shut down the Dolphins' weapon. And the Cowboys, was it the Cowboys? Yeah, the Cowboys nearly succeeded in shutting down the Dolphins' weapons entirely last week. Reek got a touchdown and Mostert got a touchdown, had decent games, but for the most part, they couldn't do what they usually do. The Ravens' defense, you could argue, is even better. So this is going to be a battle. And I really want to pick the Dolphins, but the Ravens defense, you said it already. The Ravens defense looked so good shutting down the 49ers last week. I don't see why they can't do enough to not shut down, but slow down the Finns' offensive stars too. So I'm going to have to go Ravens.
And we've said it all year. The Dolphins struggle with good teams. It's a known point. It makes headlines all over. Like, the Dolphins, their strength of schedule, the opponent record is like 3-7. It's like 37% win rate on their season. So like they don't play good teams, they don't beat good teams. They nearly lost last week to the Cowboys and just squeaked by, pulled it off. But you can argue that they were pretty much held in check. The Ravens, I think, have a better defense than the Cowboys. Maybe less opportunistic as a whole, even though they did have 5 picks last week. But I think they're going to stifle the Dolphins defense, and I'm going with Ravens as well.
Yeah, it should be a really good game. I'm excited to see it. If the Dolphins get like beat really handily, then the Ravens are easily going to be the Super Bowl favorites.
And if the Dolphins get spanked, they might be an early playoff exit, to be honest.
That would be really sad.
They might be an easy upset, even though they are super fun.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move to Buffalo. The Patriots and the Bills are going to go to work here. The Patriots have looked better the past few weeks since they made the quarterback change, really. But I still don't think they have much of a chance against the Bills. I mean, if they shut down Stephon Diggs and if Josh Allen starts struggling a little like he sometimes does, who knows what could happen? You never know. But I'm definitely going to take the Bills.
Yeah, I'm kind of echoing the same thing there. I mean, Bill Belichick, like you said, he shuts down the opposing team's best player. He'll probably shut down Diggs. But there's Gabe Davis, who was succeeded last week and being the number one option for Josh Allen in that game. I almost said Joe Burrow, for being the number one option for Josh Allen. And you could honestly, the Patriots don't have a phenomenal run defense as well. So you could see another game similar to the Cowboys game where Cook goes off.
That'd be nice for you, huh?
But I'm taking Buffalo.
Yeah.
I don't have Cook.
Patriots. Oh, I thought you did.
I do in my dynasty league, but I'm out of the playoffs in dynasty. I lost by like 3 points. The Eagles Hurts interceptions against the Seahawks end up losing it for me.
That's tough. Yeah. The Patriots, I will note, Stevenson and Hunter Henry are both questionable, and their receiving core has been a mess all year, so who knows with them. Yeah. Let's move, though, to Chicago. The Falcons and the Bears. I put this as my poop game of the week, although I don't know if it's going to be a bad. It could be a good one. The Bears... Kmet and Foreman are both questionable at the moment. We'll see if they can play. Kmet especially is pretty important to that offense. But yeah, I don't know. The Falcons could win. They looked pretty solid last week, but I don't really care. I don't trust the Falcons still, and Fields has been going off. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the Bears at home to upset the Falcons. Is this an upset? I'm not sure.
No, I don't think so. I mean, the Bears are probably favored. They have a better record, I think, right? They have a better record, no?
Are they? No, the Falcons are 7-8. The Bears are 6-9.
Oh wow! It's very surprising. I thought the Bears were better, but the Bears are at home, so they're probably favored. Because Falcons haven't been really all that good. Again, it bites me in the ass every time. But I'm going to say I hope that Art Smith does what he did last week. It stays with Bijan Robinson because I'm going to take the Falcons. I'm going to split with you here. If he's smart, he'll do it. But he's not smart, so he probably won't, and he'll probably take the loss. But I'm going to go with the Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely could win. If their defense shows up, then the Bears, who knows? I will say
they're probably not starting Ritter, so if they don't start Ritter, I think they stand more of a shot.
I agree with that. I do. Very important game for them, too, because if the Bears beat them, they are pretty much done with the playoff. I think they are done, actually, if they lose this game. Let's move to Houston. The Titans and the Texans divisional battle. Very important game for the Texans here, and very interesting game because both rookie quarterbacks, Will Levis and CJ Stroud, missed last week, and Stroud missed the week before. So
Yeah.
they're both going to be questionable. We do expect CJ Stroud to be back. Will Levis, not sure. He had that rough injury last 2 weeks ago now. I think I'm going to be taking the Texans either way, though, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm taking the Texans in this. I think CJ Stroud's going to play. And with CJ Stroud, he is the better quarterback on the field, regardless of who's quarterback for the Titans. He's shown this year when he's healthy, he is an elite QB in the league. So I'm taking the Texans on this. They got Nico Collins back healthy. I believe they have Dalton Schultz back healthy as well. So they get Stroud back healthy, they should be back to their old selves, and they're pushing for a playoff spot. So this means more to
They
them.
need him.
So I'm going Texans.
I will say if Stroud doesn't make it on the field and if Will Levis does play, the Titans do have a shot because I like Will Levis. I like way better than Tannehill at this point. So yeah it'll be interesting.
Agree.
But yeah, Texans. Let's move to a very interesting game in Indianapolis. The Raiders and the Colts are going to battle. And originally, I thought the Colts for sure would be favored, and I would go with them. But after last week, where the Colts got embarrassed by the Falcons and the Raiders embarrassed the Chiefs, now this is wide open in my mind. Yeah. I do not know who to pick. So I'm going to defer to you first and see what you say.
Yeah, I don't really know who to pick either. This is a tough game. This is a very tough game to look at. But I will say the one thing that did not look good last week was the Raiders' offense. Their defense, their scoring was relied upon strictly by 2 defensive touchdowns. They did shut down Patrick Mahomes, but he looked pretty freaking bad all year. Do we know if, in his standards anyway, do we know if Michael Pittman is going to play?
Josh Jacobs and Michael Pittman and Zach Moss are all questionable last I saw. I feel like Pittman had the concussion. It was a bad hit, but I feel like concussions usually don't last multiple weeks unless it was like really bad. So
yeah. Assuming Pittman plays, I'm going the Colts in this game. If Pittman plays and if Pittman doesn't play and Jacobs plays, I'm going, I think Raiders probably, but let's just say Colts. I know you probably want to know what I'm doing, so you're thinking probably a split. So I'm going to go Colts in this. I think the Colts defense is good enough to get to the Raiders. The Raiders performed last week on defense, but they haven't done it consistently all year with exception of their pass rush. And Minshew does have decent escapability and ability to perform against a rush. So I'm going to say Colts.
Yeah, I was
long-winded answer, but I'm going to say Colts.
I was originally going to say the Colts, but after last week, I flip-flopped to the Raiders. And now that you're picking the Colts, I'm confident in saying I will go with the Raiders. I do think that if I feel like Michael Pittman will play, and the Colts will be much better if he does. But the Raiders' defense has looked so good since the firing of Josh McDaniels, and I just feel like they're going to pull it off. This will be a death sentence if the Colts lose this game.
Yeah,
for their
playoff. For sure. And for some reason, I feel like it's going to be the Raiders, but I just love Gardner Minshew. So this is the same way where you always are backing Baker Mayfield. So I'm going Colts just in this game, but that is if Michael Pittman plays. If he doesn't play, I have no confidence that Josh Downs is going to get the job done on his own. So I would go Raiders in that case. But it's another game where if Michael Pittman plays,
we got quite a few splits already. We'll see. You're setting yourself up to either take it over or have a horrible fall. We'll see what happens. For now, though, let's move. Let's move to Jacksonville. Another interesting one, the Panthers and the Jaguars. I'm putting this as my any given Sunday game of the week because the Jaguars are very confusing right now. Zay Jones, I don't even know if I should be talking about him anymore. He's missed like most of the season. Trevor Lawrence is questionable with a shoulder injury, a concussion, a fucking ankle injury. Who knows what is going on with him?
It's falling apart.
Yeah, and then Miles Sanders is also questionable for the Panthers, but I think he lost that backfield already anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think I'm going to go with the Jaguars just because the Panthers have been so bad, but the Panthers came out and played decent last week against a better opponent, and the Jaguars looked like shit against the Bucs. So the Panthers could pull it off. They really could. I'm going with the Jags.
Yeah, this is another tough game where the Panthers did perform pretty well last week. Granted, the Bucs are performing very well right now. So, and the Packers are an extremely young team. They are the youngest team in the league. So, they have had a lot of mistakes, both offensively and defensively throughout the season. So I want to attribute that to most of the reason why the Panthers were in the game, because the Panthers fucking suck. They're not good. Bryce Young has gotten better, but he's still not good. I think in this game, especially if Trevor Lawrence plays, he's the worst QB on the field. I don't think he can hang with Trevor Lawrence, who seems to be targeting Calvin Ridley and Ingram at will right now. And I'm going Jaguars as well. I just don't have any confidence the Panthers can get a win. Even though they do have two, I don't have any confidence that they can sustain wins.
Yeah. We're pretty much on the same page then. I feel like somebody between the Texans, Colts, and Jags have to take charge of this division at some point. Yeah. Will this be the week? We will see. We just went over all three of those in a row.
One of those teams is going to lose. I feel like the Jags and the Colts are most likely to lose. I feel like this week, the Texans, either of those teams, the Jags and Colts could easily lose their games. The Texans, I think, should handily win their game if CJ Stroud plays. So, the Texans could gain some separation there.
Take the division. Let's do it, Texans. Let's go, Houston. But let's move to MetLife. The Rams and the Giants are going to be fighting. The Giants are probably going to turn to Tyrod Taylor here. But like you said earlier, the Rams have been very impressive lately. They look far better than the Giants talent-wise. Yeah. And the Giants D has been surprising lately. So I wouldn't say that the Rams will definitely win, but there's no way I'm going to pick against. I'm going Rams.
Okay. I thought you said you were. I misheard. And I thought you said you weren't picking against the Giants. So yeah, I'm going Giants. Or I'm going Rams. Sorry, no. Yeah. I'm going Rams. I'm going Rams. Right. The Rams are just performing too well right now. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. I would say Tutu Atwell, but it looks like DeMarcus Robinson is taking that job, and he's from Florida, not Oregon. It was another D. Robinson that was at Oregon previously as a running back, but. DeMarcus Robinson has looked very good as well. Kyron Williams looks good. The defense looks all right. Like, there's the better team. Rams winning.
Yeah. We're on the same
page.
The
Rams game to lose in this.
Yeah. If anyone's confused, we are both picking the Rams. All right.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right. Let's move to Philly. Your team, the Cardinals and the Eagles. I don't think we really got to talk about this too much. The Eagles are much more talented. And they should definitely win this. I actually I only wrote down one thing. I wrote down, if the Cardinals upset the Eagles, all hell will break loose in Philadelphia.
You're not wrong. Philadelphia is chomping at the bits right now, and we're 11-4. So that 3-game losing streak had the city calling for heads. People were saying to cut Jalen Hurts, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, we wouldn't be here without Jalen Hurts. That dude has single-handedly brought us to so many wins.
Almost won a Super Bowl last year.
Fuck off. The Eagles are winning this game. They do, for some reason, struggle with the Cardinals a lot of times, but they're going to win this game. There's not really much in Arizona besides Trey McBride and Kyler Murray. James Conner, for some reason, has good games against Philly, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Their defense is just not good enough to hang with the Eagles, who when they perform well, can put up a ton of points. And they were able to move the ball last week. It was their own stupid mistakes that cost some points. So I think it's going to be Eagles.
I believe the Eagles can lock up. I don't think I mentioned it, but I believe they can lock up the division too if they win and the Cowboys lose. So
they can't. I believe they lock up the division if So if the Cowboys would have to lose, because if the Eagles say that they lost and the Cowboys won, they'd have the same record. Then if the Eagles lost, Cowboys won, scratch this. I don't know. I'm just rambling here.
Just rambling. All right, let's move to Tampa.
Just cut this from the record. More. Just take this off of here. I don't know. I sound like I have dementia or something. I don't know.
Let's move to Tampa, where the Saints and the Buccaneers are going to duke it out for the division in Week 17. This should be a fun game. The Saints have looked okay lately. You could argue that they have some pretty talented play. They were pretty bad last week, though. They were pretty bad. Kamara couldn't get anything going. The Buccaneers are just looking way better right now. So let's just pick the Bucs, right?
Yeah, I have the Bucs written down. I'm picking the Bucs. I'm not changing it. Saints haven't looked consistently good all year. They have their ups and downs, but Bucs are hot right now. Baker Mayfield is playing out of his mind, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So I'm going Bucks.
Yeah, and the Bucks could lock up the division if they win and the Falcons lose their game. Or do they just have to win? No, I think the Falcons. I don't know. Yeah, both picking the Bucks. Let's move to the capital, D.C. The 49ers and the Commanders are going to rumble in the capital. Brian Robinson questionable for the Commanders. I don't think anything will matter, though. The 49ers should not lose this game.
No. Yeah. I don't know what. I mean, Brock Purdy. Again, I'm rambling. What the fuck is going on? Brock Purdy is not going to be benched after last week's performance. I'm sure he's just going to get a stern talking to from Shanahan. Just a bad performance for a good QB. Again, I don't think he's a great QB, but he's a good QB, and the 49ers are just way too good to lose to the Commanders. If they lose to the Commanders, though,
then you have to question everything.
Then you have to question everything. Like, you got to think, like, oh, the 49ers might be a first-round exit in the playoffs because there's no way they're securing the number one seed if they lose to the Commanders. So that team is in fucking shambles. They've been in shambles for years. There's no way the 49ers are losing this game. If they do, life makes no sense. Football makes no sense, and I don't know what to think.
The only time the Commanders were decent in the past decade was the very first year with Alex Smith on the team before he got horribly, devastatingly injured.
Also, RG3 rookie year.
I think that was over a decade point.
Was it? Is he that old?
Was it 20? It was 2012, wasn't it?
I don't remember. Are we that old?
Yeah. The Commanders will have Jacoby Brissett possibly.
2012. Oh my God. Good call. God damn.
Yeah. We're getting old, man.
Hey, there's another guy that's chomping at the bits to get in some NFL game action that would probably be better than anything that the Jets are putting out there. So, hey, give RG3 a shot.
Let's go. RG3 to the Jets for the last game of the season. Give him a shot. Go. All right. Let's move to the 4 p.m. slate in Seattle. This could be a good game. The Steelers and the Seahawks. Kenny Pickett still injured, most likely going to miss this game, I believe, which means I think we're probably going to see Mason Rudolph again. The Steelers with Rudolph looked much better. So this could be a game. This could be a battle. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to Seattle. They're playing against the 12th man. I think it was kind of just a lucky string of events there for Mason Rudolph, especially since most of his yardage came on 4 catches by Pickens. So Pickens is kind of night and day with those big plays, and he hasn't sustained any consistency with those this year. The Seahawks are always tough at home. Pete Carroll is a good coach. Mike Tomlin's coaching for his job. 2 legendary coaches. I don't see the Steelers winning this game, even though their defense can steal wins and create wins where they shouldn't be. I think the Seahawks are just a better team. I'm picking Hawks.
Yeah, I'm picking the Seahawks too. I think they're just better that they've shown. If it is close, which it could be for sure, I think we're in store for maybe another Geno Smith comeback win, because that's what the Seahawks have been doing. They just don't give up. They claw their way in. And this is another game where the loser of this is going to be in trouble in the playoff race. The Seahawks, I wouldn't say out of the playoffs if they lose. Steelers, though.
The Steelers, though.
But yeah, taking the Seahawks. Let's move to Denver. Right. The Chargers and the Broncos in Mile High Stadium. This is an interesting game. The Chargers and the Broncos, both star receivers in Keenan Allen and Courtland Sutton, are questionable. Keenan Allen, I feel like they might as well just sit for the rest of the year. They're already out of the playoffs. Broncos, Courtland Sutton, though, very important for them. He is in concussion protocol. So we'll see. If he doesn't play, they could be in trouble here, because the Chargers looked a lot better last week, almost catching the Bills off guard. The Broncos are fighting for more, though, and I still don't trust the Chargers fully, so I'm going to take the Broncos.
I'm also going to take the Broncos. However, Will Grier starts.
Ooh.
Instead of Easton Stick, I might just go with the Chargers, because I think he can sling it a lot better. I don't have any confidence in Easton Stick. And also, speaking of Easton Stick, I mentioned this to you. How the fuck does North Dakota State have 3 quarterbacks in the NFL? I mean, they're not starters, but you have Easton Stick, you have Carson Wentz, and you have Trey Lance. They're all on teams.
And they've all been disappointments.
Yes, they've all been disappointments. Easton Stick, he's just strictly been a backup, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's strictly been a backup. Carson Wentz had a super high and then just crashed and burned. And then, which I'm sure everybody knows, but then Trey Lance, I don't know. Trey Lance, he has a ton of athletic ability, but he can't stay healthy. He's played like what, 4 games, and he had like 2 good games, 2 bad games, but he just
Yeah.
can't stay healthy. And then string of events happened in San Francisco where Purdy led them to the NFC Championship, lost his job. So they're not going to then go to Trey Lance after Purdy led them to the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
And now he's in Dallas, where Dak Prescott was questionable as the future of Dallas, but now he's playing the best football of his career. So he's out in Dallas. So
Yeah.
what the hell's going to happen with Trey Lance next?
I'm excited to see him in the preseason wherever I assume he'll still be on the Cowboys, but it's not a given, that's for sure.
No,
So,
not a given. I'd like to see him on a team that maybe might not be in the position to take a quarterback super early. So the quarterback that they take might be a question mark.
Giants?
I mean, Giants, yeah. Maybe Trey Lance can go to the Giants. Maybe he can go to the Jets, MetLife, either way. Be Rodgers' backup, because Rodgers isn't going to be there forever.
Give Zach Wilson a fight for the backup spot.
If he is even healthy enough to play and doesn't get injured in the first snap of the game. But with the talent that he has, you got to imagine he'd be a good backup to learn from someone like that.
Yeah, I would say so. I just looked up Easton Stick, and the first article that came up is Chris Collinsworth calling him fat for some reason. I was like, what the heck? I have no idea what that's in reference to.
Chris Collinsworth. He's an idiot.
Collinsworth's losing his mind, man. Get him out of there.
Trying to think of like maybe what other teams might be in play for someone like Trey Lance, someone with that athletic talent that aren't in play, but they're in play for a quarterback.
That's true.
But like you said, it depends on their direction. If they draft one early, or they can draft something else and still try to see what Howell has, but they could have a QB competition between him and Trey Lance. So Commanders could work.
You could say Vikings, but I assume they're going to re-sign Kirk at this point.
You assume so. But I don't think that they would want to. You assume so, but Kirk's kind of up there in age still. So
he also has a bad injury.
Vikings still potentially get Trey Lance, be Kirk's backup.
Yeah.
Team with a lot to work with. I don't know. Steelers not sold on Pickett, and they're in the playoff hunt, so they're not going to be in a position to draft a QB. Yeah.
Pickett's no guarantee to stay there forever.
Yeah. I'd like to see Trey Lance do something. He had a lot of talent coming out of school. So
Broncos? I mean, Russ, we're not sold. Sean Payton's definitely not sold on Russ.
No.
Brownies?
I could see Broncos. Yeah, Deshaun Watson doesn't seem to want to play. So
give it to Trey, baby.
Give it to Trey. Yeah, maybe. I'm excited to see what he can do. Partially because he's on my taxi squad and dynasty, but
I feel like he fits the Browns offense, to be honest.
Yeah, he's got a cannon. He's got a good arm.
Yeah.
And he's super fast. So
there's a lot of potential options, especially if he's a free agent. People can just fight for him and pick where he wants to be.
It's a fact.
Anyway, we've talked enough about this. Let's move to Kansas.
Talked about Trey Lance more than we talked about the actual game.
What are we doing here? It's not even on either of these teams. What even just happened?
I don't know.
Anyway, let's go to Kansas City. The Bengals and the Chiefs. A couple weeks ago, this was an easy pick for the Chiefs, for me at least. But now, I don't know if it's easy at all.
No, not at all.
The Chiefs have looked pretty bad. The Bengals, granted, didn't look great last week either. Pacheco should play, but I guess he's questionable. Jamar Chase, will he get in there and play? The Chiefs' wide receiver room is a total mess. Injuries and just incompetence. What are you thinking? Are you just going to pick the opposite of what I do, or what?
That's kind of my plan, but
I'll let you do that.
This is a tough matchup. I think I could have my pick either way.
Okay.
This is a tough matchup here. I love seeing the Chiefs implosion because I honestly think that they've kind of been dicks. They couldn't do much of anything last week against the Raiders, and the Raiders haven't been all that great all season. Obviously, I mean, after Pierce got there, they've been considerably better offensively and defensively. Offense has been really up and down, though. Defense, though, has been good, and they held the Chiefs in check. But I'm going to go with the Bengals. I'm going to go with the Bengals. I think Jake Browning still was able to put up a lot of passing yards last week against a rising Raiders defense. It was just those untimely mistakes. The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes still couldn't put up a ton of pass yards. And without Pacheco, where the hell's their run game going to be? So I'm going to go with the Bengals. I'm going to say that Mixon is going to have like 80 yards and a TD, and Browning is going to have a good game, not a great game, like 270, one TD, one pick. I think they're going to get the win.
All right. Well, yeah, let's split on it then. I do think Pacheco's gonna play, but I still feel kind of stupid picking the Chiefs after they've looked so bad lately. But honestly, to be honest and fair, that was a divisional game against the Raiders, and divisional games are always different than regular games. So, and they still have to make the playoffs. So I'm gonna pick the Chiefs, and I'm just gonna say, don't blow it. Don't blow it,
Blow
Chiefs.
it. That's really it.
All right, let's move to the last game of the week, and it's a pretty good one. The Packers are heading into Minnesota to take on the Vikings. I tried to do a little Canadian thing. I don't know if you caught that, but the Packers, there's quite a few injuries in this game. The Packers wide receiver room is pretty much all questionable right now, as well as the big tight end there. But they do have the other one that you've been talking about, Tucker Kraft. The Vikings, their tight end is probably going to miss this game with the knee injury, and the rookie Addison, he does have an ankle injury. So you were correct when you guessed ankle injury. But yeah, he's questionable at the moment right now too. So anything could happen in this game, pretty much, is where I'm getting at. And I think this will be a really good divisional game. It probably is going to knock one of these teams at least out of the running for the playoffs, which is what the other team would absolutely love to do because they hate each other. A lot of injuries, but I will say Jefferson is going to be playing, and he is the best player on the field. I think he's going to will the Vikings to victory under the Sunday night lights. So I'm picking the Vikings.
All right. Yeah, I think Justin Jefferson, obviously the best player on the field, regardless of position here. Aaron Jones seemed to come back and do some work for the Packers. Jordan Love was a decent game manager last week, and that being without Jaden Reed, who's become his seemingly favorite target recently. It's a huge gadget player for that offense, and I'm assuming Jaden Reed's going to play this week, and I am going with Dubs, Reed, and Jones being a better supporting cast for Jordan Love, and I'm gonna go with the Packers in this game over the Minnesota Vikings. Youngbloods gonna pull out the W.
Yeah, I could definitely see it happen. Like I said, anything could happen in this game. You have no clue.
I mean, it's just so tough for no Addison, no Hawkinson.
Mm-hmm. Addison could play. He could.
Not much of a run game. Run game's kind of day and night there, but
true.
It's still Nick Mullins back there, QB. Like, I don't have a ton of confidence there. So
he threw 400 yards, baby.
He did throw 400 yards. What the hell? I don't know. I don't know what's going on in the NFL this year, but I'm just gonna go Packers.
I could see this game either being a complete dud where neither team can do anything, all the way to it could be a complete and utter shootout down to the wire, like most exciting Sunday night game of the year. I could see either.
That can definitely happen. And this is an interesting week for us because we have 5 splits, potentially, if the Pittman played for the Colts. We have at least 4 splits, though. So I could potentially, how these shake out, I could catch or pass you, or I could go right back down to 6 behind.
Or you could be out of the running in the last week.
Lose all of the ground that I made from the previous week.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun week. This is a very exciting week, and I am ready to watch the games when they start.
Yeah, me too. That's a wrap on another episode of the Flea Flicker Show. That's our predictions for the week. The best way to support our show, leave a rating or review on all platforms you listen on, and of course by liking the show. Make sure to subscribe to the Flea Flicker Show on YouTube. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Follow us on social media at Flea Flicker Show, and thank you once again, Flea Flicker Nation, for tuning in. Until next time,
peace
and have a great new year.
Happy New Year. Yeah. So